Hey, and welcome to the second episode of Roman's Rundown, starring me, Steve Roman, and my buddy Dave Sturchio, running the show behind the cameras. Just wanted to welcome everybody back. Some crazy things going on out there. Unfortunately for me, my family has been shut down with the COVID flu, Dave. It's
Ah,
been an
we're back.
absolute nightmare.
Oh
Yeah,
man. All right, listen. I'll refrain from my thoughts on COVID. I do know though that there's a lot of shit going around. A lot of people are getting shut down. A lot of people are getting sick. I'm for one battling all week with a nice little head cold. It was kind of tapering off, but then but yeah, you know it. There's kids, there's boogers, there's spit, there's just shit flying everywhere. And yeah, man, it's been a rough week. So how you holding up, man? You doing the daddy daycare thing or what?
oh my God, Dave, it's impossible. It really puts things into perspective on why exactly I have a wife that's a good wife for 30 years, and
God bless.
she pretty much runs everything.
Yeah,
And it's
listen.
always exposed. Oh, I talk a little bit of doo-doo throughout the year, but time winter comes, my wife shuts down, things get exposed. You see who's really running the show at the Roman household, and it's not me.
So it's like when DeVito comes in there, like, oh, you have a couple flashy moments, but then like you really need your starting quarterback to kind of steer the ship.
Oh, 100%. I mean, this is really like, yeah, that covers it. I mean, I can't top that analogy. That's pretty much covers it all. Yeah. Um, so it's been like working with the girls, working with a 15-year-old and a 12-year-old, trying to sort the laundry. That alone is a battle. My daughter's playing a couple sports, running kids around. My kids are very active. And I'm looking at that pile of laundry like it's a war. And I got things that got to be separated.
Oh
I got
man.
things that can't be washed. They got to be air dried on a fence at the neighbor's house. And I'm going, what? Lululemon who? I don't know anything about Lululemon.
Don't screw
The only
that
thing
up, Steve. Those are like $100 sweatpants and shit.
I've been warned. I have a very, very concerned feeling about next week and where I'm going to be living on the next load of laundry that comes out. Because my daughter's ordering stuff from Amazon that I've destroyed, that my wife's completely unaware of in this fog, flu, COVID, whatever the heck you want to call it, that's going on. So right now I'm really struggling. And I will tell you, Uber Eats is hot at this household. We are not my
Not a cook, not a
productivity
cooker, Steve.
not looking good. No, because really I can grill and I'm a very good griller. But unfortunately, there's dishes that have to be done.
Oh
The
yeah.
cleanup. It's great to prepare a
You can't put your
fillet.
daughters to work?
I can, but it's usually a half-ass job. There's always stuff laying around.
Mm.
Then they'll throw out a lifeline. There's testing this week. So there's testing that has to be done. They're both very good students. So that will disarm me. They can shut me down. Oh, I have to. I'm like, you do? I thought you did that already. They're like, Dad, you want us to 94? I'm like, all right, just cover it. Then they know not to get me on the back end. So it will be a 94, but I'm still stuck with these dishes.
Mm.
It's a nightmare.
Paper plates are death.
Oh, it's horrible. Then you're eating the paper plate. They ordered Chinese now. Now your Chinese General Chow becomes part of the paper plate. You're now because it's disintegrating
Yeah.
underneath the cheap paper plate.
Mm.
So yeah, it's been difficult to say the least. I mean, it really puts things into perspective on how a woman really can handle things. And I'm not really a complainer, I got to be honest with you. I have some friends that do very well, and they're like really some bitchy, whiny guys, especially when they go down or they're not feeling well. It's like, man,
Oh yeah,
they expose
when I go
themselves.
down, it is the man flu to the nth degree, man. I'm inconsolable. You can't talk to me. Like, don't bother me. Like, it's bad news
Uh,
bears in my house.
yeah, I'm just become like more like a polar bear. Like I just like hibernation, like no interest in food. Like don't come near me, basically. I'll decapitate you. I have no use for you. Unless you did something fabulous on the athletic field, I might hear that through the back line. But other than that, I don't really care. I'm just not interested, unfortunately. I don't
What
want to
does
be bothered.
what does your wife do? She's down and out.
What do you mean?
What does she do? She's out of work, I'm assuming.
Yeah, yeah. No, she's a teacher. So
Oh, okay.
she's just yeah, she's like fortunately, you know, in education on Long Island, she has a lot of sick days. I think she has like 130 sick days. So
Holy shit.
yeah, so they occur. So fortunately, and again, having a good boss right now, her boss is like, don't worry about it. So
The
nothing,
principal of the school?
yeah, the principal of the school's like, just get well. My wife's a great teacher. I think she's there 24 years.
Oh, wow.
So
What does
yeah,
she teach?
special education,
Very nice.
math, high school math.
Okay.
So yeah, yeah, no, she's cool. She's a teacher you'd want to have in high school, I believe. She's very good at what she does. So but yeah, being a teacher, very spoiled, very lucky because if you're running a business, you're out. As you know, you're not getting paid. This is one
Mhm.
of the last of the pension jobs left, that
Yeah.
you can take a day and still get paid. Nothing, you don't really skip a beat other than not feeling well. So
Yeah,
she hasn't done a
listen.
damn thing.
I was a paraprofessional for 3 years, so that was fun. Fun little ride for me in my journey to get here. Um, Loved being in education, but you're right though. If you don't have the right boss, it's like it's murder. It's just something that you don't want to go. That's what takes the fun, or not even. I'm not saying every job needs to be fun, but I mean, like, if you go in and you're dreading where you're going because of the person that's in charge of you, that's just a recipe for disaster all the time.
Right. And if it's for, if it, you say, if you look at yourself and you go, wow, you just caught yourself and said, well, not every job has to be fun. Well, not for nothing in education or being a para. Yeah, it does.
That's
You
true.
come in and you need to turn that up. You need to figure out, what am I going to do to entertain these guys who are less fortunate? They're
Hmm.
not in a position you're in, to have fun, make it an educational environment and have a blast. And you're a natural at it. For you, it's not really a big deal. You roll in, you could bring in a snack, whatever it is. Yeah, I know it's a difficult these days with snacks and stuff, but listen, you can bring an organic thing, have a whatever it is for the kids. There's always a way to the kid's heart. And going in and having a guy or a female or whoever that person is running the building, sucking the life out of the building for all the wrong reasons is brutal
Hmm.
and very, very unfortunate. And it's something that's going on regularly, as you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
As you know, there are people in very high spots, very important spot, that could care less about the people flanking them, the people they're in charge of. How can I make the day better for them? I know they're suffering when they go home, just like every other human being suffering. And you say suffering. Well, the responsibility of taking care of kids, paying your bills, getting along with your wife, and making sure they don't take the car off your driveway.
It's a
That's the
job in
suffering.
itself.
Right. That's the suffering I'm talking about. You don't need to go to work and have a human being compounding, trying to
Yeah.
get through a day of work, let alone an education where it should be a positive environment, should be as positive as possible.
Yeah, I agree. I've experienced some awful bosses, and that's something that kind of like trickled down into the thought process of becoming a business owner. Is that I knew that no matter what, if anybody ever worked under me, which there has been, I've had intern programs in and out of this place. I wanted to make sure that their experience here was that they didn't dread coming here ever. Like I want them to have a good time. I want them to get to work. Don't get me wrong. I want them to work hard and be effective at their job and do well. But at the same time, if you make that conscious decision to be a prick to somebody, it's going to trickle down on the work. It's going to make the entire work environment just hostile, and it just doesn't, I don't know, it just never made sense to me to treat anybody poorly because of the fact that I've had so much experience of said bosses. And I've dealt with my wife is, the most talented person I've ever met in my life. She's an interior designer. And that field alone, you meet some characters along the way, right? There's just some high end, just yuppie, stuffed up, nose in the air type people who don't even have real life experiences. Meaning, like one of her last bosses didn't have kids, and she's in her 50s and 60s. So, like, they don't know what you're going home to. They don't know what you need to respond to. So they just pretend like nothing else exists in your world except that job. And that's not the way to approach it. And then to belittle these people like my wife was, it's like, dude, you deserve nothing short than a slap right in the mouth, because it's just, you really do have to treat people better. I mean, that's the stem of so many businesses failing, is because they can't keep their employees there because they're shitty people. And I'm sure you've experienced that too.
Oh yeah, even I have an uncle that's an interior designer down in Fort Lauderdale, and not that we have a whole lot in common because we don't. Um, he's a he's a gay guy, very successful, went to college, has doesn't matter about his sexuality at all, but he does work in that field where it seems a lot of the people he's associated with happen to be gay, which is fine because I've gone to dinner and shared life. These people are
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
extremely successful. Um, you know, but when you say snooty or
Mm,
you're out to dinner or you don't I didn't know what couscous was. I thought it might have been the end of a train on a railroad and said, "Ooh,
that's
uh-oh."
caboose.
You know, yeah, right, right. And that's my level. And I'm going, "Oh man, you know, these people are a little bit out of touch with what's
Oh,
going on."
100%.
And I
100%.
know that they're um again, I'm not talking about sexuality at all. I'm just talking about, you know, I know you have a Bentley, or are you talking about how you had to have it shipped in, or someone that's requesting
So it's not gay it's rich people, really, like
it just it's
filthy, wealthy, don't know how to handle that kind of
people
what yeah,
right. Or if you have to go out to dinner and there's a couple of people that are mainstream middle class people, you don't have to pick the most elite restaurant or
right,
be so caught up in yourself that you're making people feel uncomfortable. You
right.
know, that no from $1,000 bottle of wine, which is completely unnecessary to me. It's fine for you and your crew if that's what you're doing, but if you have two or three other couples, dummy it down or, I don't know. I agree, Dave. It's like, wow, too obnoxious. The wealth, the combination of just having everything and being out of touch with, I guess, the normalcy of everyday people going to work. And because these deals that they're doing too are, $500,000 decorating jobs that they're
Yeah,
doing
yeah.
in 4 to 6 weeks on homes that are, 10, 12, $14 million.
And as that
And you
business
just,
owner yeah, and as that business owner goes, her most recent I listen, that field, and as your uncle probably know, it pays very well. Those people in that
oh,
field get paid very well. So my wife is doing very well. But in that job, I told, like, without risk, it's like, I don't mean to compare this to football in any but I'm a sports guy. That's what I do. But like, if you're on a last year of your contract, right, in a big situation, you can either sign that long-term deal, or you can bet on yourself in that last year that you're going to improve your worth and your price tag is going to be up. So in the design field, I felt like I said, look, this is no longer good for your mental health. It's no longer good for your physical health because you're not sleeping. And it's no good for your emotional health because your hands are in your face every day crying, literally tears, because this person doesn't know how to treat you. You can leave that job and bet on yourself that you're going to land something better, right? And that's what I told her to do. And I did. Listen, I told her to do that December 1st, before our Disney trip, before Christmas, like when money is absolutely at a standard that you need money for these situations. I said, what good is this Disney trip going to be? And what good is Christmas going to be if you're going to be a fucking miserable mess? You know what I mean? So you just got to go. Just get out. Just pull the carpet from under your own feet and get out. And I've done that too. I mean, and not to say I was being mistreated, but when you're not in an environment that you want to be in and you're dreading going there and you feel like miserable and you don't know your own value because your boss or your counterparts or your coworkers don't make you feel like you're the top-notch person, then what the fuck are you doing there? Like, life is too short, man. We only go around this fucking thing once. You know what I mean? Like, unless you believe in the afterlife, which most of us do, but I'm just saying, like, you got to make this worth it. And by getting treated like shit on the day to day, it's just not it's not worth any dollar amount. I don't care because you're not going to be able to enjoy the fruits of your labor if you're just strapped to your labor the entire time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you hit the nail right on the head. Who would want to? It's first of all, it's a very big move to make. Like you said, you told your wife at this point, listen, it's the holidays, we have Christmas, we got a lot going on. But your mental well-being is so much more important to me than you suffering with
Hmm.
this animal who's making you feel like this day after day. And who knows, maybe getting off on it, that you're sitting at your desk or
Yeah,
knowing that it's a Friday and he's going to dump some unnecessary information in your lap to make sure that Saturday and Sunday is uncomfortable for you.
exactly.
And it's like, I mean, you see through these people, and it's very difficult to be united front with your significant other and say, listen, you got to make the move. I know you're comfortable. Everybody's comfortable. You've been doing it for a little while. To make this move is a big jump, but you have the skill set to do it. You don't need to be treated like this. You're completely uncomfortable. Your guts are inside out, and you
Hmm.
need to be treated as you're very good at what you do, and you need to be appreciated. Now,
Yeah.
it's another story if you're not good at what you're doing and you have high expectations for the way you want to be treated by your superiors, rightfully so, but you're not carrying your end. Well, then that's on you. That is on you. You have to take that and take it hard and look at yourself in the mirror. It's another story if you're holding up your end, you're working hard, you're successful, you're a producer, and people care about you, and you're excellent at what you do, but you have a couple of people that are just jealous.
Mm.
They just can't conceive that I want them to know how good they really are. So instead, because I'm such a warped person that something's wrong with, I'm going to assault and hurt them because it makes me feel better.
Right.
So that really
Yeah,
go
I was
ahead.
just saying, I've had interns in this building at Chop Studios, and they've gotten plucked from me for high paying jobs. And it's like, I'm not about to feel any sort of way about that. If somebody can tell you that you're worth more than what I can afford, go for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not about to hold you back. I'm not about to tell you, hey, sorry, you can't leave. You're under contract. No, none of that shit. Like, I've had a statistician slash producer plucked for another high paying gig. I've had an intern leave. And now she's working for Syracuse and she's got a gig on ESPN. And then just recently, I had a podcast leave my network because they got offered another opportunity with an up and coming platform. And I was like, yo, bravo, man, go rock on. You know what I mean? Like, why am I going to hold anybody back? That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? Because I know for me, I wouldn't want to get held back. Like people have held me down for a long time until I finally said, fuck it, I'm doing my own thing. You know what I mean? Like, but again, that's a big, big decision to make. Specifically when you're making a decent living and you have the health benefits and all this other shit. And I was just like, look, I'm not happy, and if I'm gonna live this life and get up for work every day and have a purpose, I gotta do it doing something I love. You know what I mean? So and whether that's sitting here on a Friday afternoon talking to you or whatever, it's part of it. You know what I mean? This is all part of it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's like it's a good feeling to be able to share that information, and the fact that your attitude is that you're willing to say, "Hey, listen, I gave these guys an opportunity. I shared the radio podcast, you know, world with them and for a period of time, and they did well, and some things came along and they offered some things at more of an elite level, and you were like, hey, absolutely, I support you 100%. Somewhere along the line you gave them an opportunity, they took it, they worked on it, obviously they worked on it, they put some time into it, and they were recognized, and you
Yeah.
said to them, go for it. I mean, if these people are good people and they're continuing to progress and do well, then your name should always be on the forefront. Every once in a while, hey, shout out to Dave. What's up? Have you as a guest. Appreciate everything you did for me. And Doesn't have to be an ass kissing venue.
No, I don't need
But
flowers.
everyone, no,
I don't
and
need
you're
that
not
shit.
interested. I believe you're not interested in that wholeheartedly. But
Mm-mm.
I do believe a tidbit for anyone like you and I, and your wife and my wife, some positive feedback. A little bit. Don't need to hear anything about it again. But
That's it.
really made me feel good. And I appreciate the recognition. And I wholeheartedly support you 100%. And that doesn't even have to be on the air. That could be through a text or a phone call.
Right.
Thank you.
Right.
I appreciate it. Look, you throw it out on the air. That's great. But these people are moving in the right direction. Look, there's a lot of people. We've seen these people that are in a position that want to sabotage. They don't want people moving up. They want people makes them feel better to hold people down, not let people progress. That's the natural instinct of the human being. You don't have a lot of welcoming, loving, genuinely caring people out there today
Mm-hmm.
that are taking care of important things. That's why we have hungry children all over the world. But we have people living in 40, $50 million mansions. It should be taken care of. I feel it should. Listen, again, you have veterans. I drive my car on Long Island. I get under a bridge in the winter. Guys, veterans, look, some of them are bullshitting. There's a percentage of them legit, and the legit veterans that fought for us should be taken care of by
Absolutely.
us. And we don't do the right thing there. We don't. We just don't. It's very unfortunate. And there's a lot of things that we don't value as people that you take for granted. Look, I was down in Florida too. A lot of those vets run down to Florida because the weather's good in January. You could live outside. So there was more transient people, running around Fort Lauderdale that I noticed, homeless, which is terrible and unfortunate that, you wonder what's going on. And then I see the guys that, say I was a veteran, not, they all can't say that, but the guys that I think are genuine, try to put the window down and say, I appreciate it and give up whatever it is that I could give within reason, just to let them know, hey, and hopefully I'm not getting scammed on my end. I look at it as a positive thing that you wouldn't hold the American flag and say, I served. Can you help me? I
Right.
want to believe that person. And I'm
Yeah.
not making life changing events on a corner of a light in Fort Lauderdale, but I do want them to know I appreciate what you did to enable me to have a family and be successful and
And a
enjoy.
podcast.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
a podcast. Yeah,
And a
yeah.
thing that you can enjoy. So yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a definitely a touchy topic, and hopefully, the country gets on the better side of positivity, and people stop fucking fighting each other and shit. It's just getting very tiring at this point. Um, and that's
Yeah,
why
it's
I
exhausting.
typically don't watch the news, man. I don't watch the news. I really don't. And then people are like,
Smart.
I can't believe you didn't hear about that. I'm like, 'cause I don't turn on the TV to watch the news because what good is that? It's gonna rot my brain. Like my grandma said it best, it'll rot your brain, as your kid. But like she wasn't wrong, like here I am. If I have to watch another fucking story about somebody getting blown to smithereens, like I don't want to see that shit. I don't want to see it. I'm aware it's happening. Doesn't mean I have to watch it. Doesn't mean I have to consume it and get angry. And then, you know, I see shit like that and I want to fucking, I want to join the military. You know what I mean? Like I want to be like, all right, then I'll go take matters into my own hands, but like I can't.
Right. No, you're 100% right. It's
Anyway.
sometimes I find myself getting caught up in it. I'm a little older than you. I don't know what that means, if that has anything to do with it, but it's just exactly like you said. All that happens when I'm done with it is everything you said. I have agita. I'm aggravated. It's fucking rotting my brain, and I'm irritable. Going, what is going on? And then you try to analyze it,
Yeah.
and
And
you're
then
right. It's
you're no better than
unhealthy.
anybody else trying to analyze it because we ain't pros. We don't know all the facts, right? You only get what's on the
No
TV, which is, half the time is
bullshit.
bullshit. Right.
Right, right. They're telling us a load of bullshit. So it's just like, but you see the damages that it causes, and you're like, you're better off just being consumed with your own kids,
No,
doing your
that's
own thing,
100%.
limiting that and trying to raise your kids the
I'll
right
watch
way.
all the goddamn cartoons that you can possibly shove down my throat over me subjecting them to anything else right now, because right now it's all about cartoons and coloring and creating and magic and just all sorts of fun shit that the kids should start to enjoy, not anything right now. That's why I'm petrified, man. I mean, you've obviously lived it already, but like, in September, I'm going to be a 39-year-old man with a 5-year-old daughter who's about to go into a public school finally, so it's just like I'm petrified
Wait,
because I
yeah, and you should be because you'll see when she's in first grade or she's saying to you, Dad, I don't know, Caitlin's wearing, boy's outfit or
right,
something,
shit
and
like that. Like
you're gonna.
I'm not
That's
mentally
just the
prepared for
beginning.
any of that shit. I know,
Right, or
but
she says, "Dad, I have to use this bathroom because it's gender neutral." My tea, you're like, "What?
yeah,
What is
don't
my
get me
kid even?"
fucking. I'll get canceled right
But
off the face of the
anyway,
earth. So
you're
speaking of,
you're gonna be in for it. Yeah.
yeah, speaking of, I don't even know how to segue into that, but listen, we're big sports guys at heart, right? I mean, there's a lot of cool things happening right now. I know both of our teams are in Florida. Speaking of Florida, they're probably in Florida golfing and having a grand old time on vacations and shit. The Giants and the Cowboys are toast.
Absolutely.
But we do have some NFC and AFC title games, man. I know both of these stories and all four of these teams have their all individual story heading in. I guess we could start in the AFC where the Chiefs are on the road to take on the Baltimore Ravens. Steve, how do you see this one playing out? Who you rooting for? How do you see it going? Are you picking up on any storylines? The biggest breaking news today is that Mark Andrews, the tight end of the Ravens, off the IR. He's looking to play. He hasn't played in 7 weeks, so now Lamar Jackson's getting another target back. So, how do you see this one?
Oh man, I have to tell you, this is gonna be some game. I really think this is gonna be an extraordinary game. I do feel like Baltimore has the edge here. I do feel like Lamar Jackson, I think it's his time. I think this is going to be his stage, his game. Um, I'm not overly thrilled with Kansas City and a lot of the byproduct that's going on with that team right now.
Mm,
Everybody knows the byproduct that's going on right
mhm.
now with that team.
Oh, yeah.
It's sort of becoming
Nauseating?
unbearable.
Nauseating
Yeah,
at
like
best. Yeah.
just like the news. Like you
Yeah.
gotta shut the news off. Like when the NFL comes on, or Kelsey's in the box at his brother's game with his shirt off, drink. I just,
That part I wasn't even as mad at. Like, I would be doing the same thing for my brother, not so much the shirt off part, but, like, I would be there to support my brother, screaming my head off for him,
it's just the
but
whole.
it's the other shit. It's the Taylor Swift stuff. It's
Well,
annoying at
that
this
was
point, man.
tied into it, how he was trying to entertain her, and she thought he was cute and funny and kid like. And I'm going, I don't want to hear that about um Kelsey's brother. I want to hear about, like you just said. I don't want the byproduct involved. I feel Mahomes' wife is also, if you
Yeah,
go back when Mahomes was having all this success and he was at the top of his game and the team was at the top of the pinnacle of the NFL, people were talking about his wife and that she's a jerk off and should
and
shut her mouth.
his douchebag brother. He was
Well,
annoying
that's
as
yeah,
hell too,
right, right.
and that guy got
Another
arrested.
right. Helping him out, like Andy Reid's son,
Mm,
another, you know, not the one that unfortunately had the incident where I believe he killed himself, which is a very unfortunate
yeah,
circumstance. But the son that was drinking before the Super Bowl and got into that horrific car accident, I don't understand. But anyway, the whole package with them is just overblown. I think Mahomes isn't really as sharp as he's been. If you've watched the games, they've struggled. You've seen it. They're not. I mean, listen, Mahomes is dangerous. They're a good team. They have a ton of talent, but I feel that it's Baltimore's time. I just feel like Baltimore's going to come in and cause a lot of havoc, a lot of problems. I feel like Lamar Jackson's really going to, I think he's going to show who he is. I think and put a place in NFL history going forward. I'm even going to say possibilities. It looks to me like they could be the Super Bowl champs.
and it looks to
Um,
me that Lamar Jackson's also, the odds-on favorite right now to win MVP this year, so it's like, and which is a
That's
regular
a
season
great point.
award. It's a regular season award, but they got there for a reason. They were the 1 seed for a reason. They're home. They just beat the brakes off the Texans, who are coming off an emotional high of beating their first round opponent in the Colts. Not the Colts, the Jaguars, not the Jaguars. Who the fuck they beat in the beginning? Like, am I? Oh, the Browns. Sorry. But in any event, I like Lamar Jackson. I've always been a little bit of his critic of saying he was like, a glorified running back with an arm. You know what I mean? Like, and he just didn't know how to read defense. Man, he's proven me completely wrong. He's dropping balls in the buckets. He's finally got some guys to throw the ball to. Zay Flowers has been incredible as a rookie. Odell Beckham Jr. is showing that he's still got legs. As I mentioned before, Mark Andrews coming back, but even his backup, Isaiah Likely, he's balled out too. And their running game is led by Lamar Jackson. And don't forget, these guys lost J.K. Dobbins in the beginning of the year to an injury, and he was their number one running back. So they've been doing all this with RB2, 3, and 4, plus Lamar. Plus, I love John Harbaugh. I really do. And congratulations to his brother who landed the LA Chargers job. That's going to be fun to watch. And I do believe they play each other next year, so that'll be fun. But yeah, I mean, look, the Chiefs, all that shit aside, with all the nonsense with the Taylor Swift and the Kelsey brothers and this, that, and the third. I think it's just it's over. I've been rooting for it to be over for a couple of weeks now. And this coming from a guy who actually used to like Taylor Swift. You know what I mean? I used to love how adorable and innocent and like she's beautiful. I used to love that. But now all of a sudden she's just become so mainstream, and this whole thing got wrapped up into the NFL. And it's just like there's like prop bets out there now. It's like, how many times are gonna show the booth where she is? Over, under 2. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
it's insane. And I just want it to be over. I would love for the Ravens to win this game. Chiefs have been in 6 straight AFC title games, bro. 6. That's fucking unheard of. That's Buffalo Bills-esque of the 90s and even more. It's just, I mean, it's hard to bet against Mahomes and Andy Reid. They might pull this out. I don't know, but I'm rooting for the Ravens. We'll see. I don't know. But yeah.
I agree. Again, I'm gonna say I got everything in on the Ravens. Watch out. I think they're coming. I think they're gonna take down Kansas City, and they're gonna make a huge statement.
All
Uh,
right.
Watch out for them. And he's gonna be. I think Lamar Jackson's gonna be really using, like you said, a guy like Michael Vick. He's gonna morph into a guy the next couple of years that can throw and run and
Mm.
just make that team fabulous. We'll see what happens, but that's my prediction. I agree with you. I love Kansas City. I think they are definitely, like you said, Bills like from the night, Jim Kelly, that team. But I think it's time they're running into a buzzsaw, and they got a lot of distractions. So we'll see what happens. And
We
I
shall
do like
see.
Andy Reid. We'll
Yeah,
see.
man.
Well, I'll be looking forward to discussing that with you, hopefully next week.
Yeah, man. And
Um,
other side, obviously the Detroit Lions are the talk of the town. A lot of fun behind that team. I know when my Cowboys beat them, there was a lot of controversy there, and it just kind of cost them the 3 seed or the 2 seed or whatever. Cost them the 2 seed, but here they are. They're there. The Cowboys aren't. And they're taking on a juggernaut, I think, in the 49ers in San Francisco. As personal experience, the Giants played them too. Giants played them tight, actually, the 49ers in the beginning of the year. But then they just beat the shit out of the Cowboys, and they beat the shit out of a lot of teams. And last week, the Packers are riding the high. We felt like there was an absolute possibility for the Packers to go down there and win that game, but Jordan Love threw a Brett Favre-esque pass, the whole cross your body, cross the field type thing, ended the game. That ended their season. But here we are, man. I mean, it's a fun story. The Niners are obviously the favorite for a reason. 1 seed, CMC, Purdy's playing good. Debo's going to play. I don't know, man. It's hard to think that the Cinderella story of the Lions ends, but I don't know, Steve. The Niners are a fucking force to be reckoned with.
I agree, Dave. I don't think with that talent, with the talent that San Francisco has, um, Purdy probably being the least talented
Yeah.
of all the players that they have,
It's
believe
crazy
it
to
or
say that,
not,
right? Yeah.
right? It sounds funny. I mean, I'm sure I'll get some arguments out there from our hundreds of thousands of the phone's blowing up right now, which I can't believe. I'm sure this is unbelievable. I mean, wow, I can't believe that. It's insane. We'll address that later. We can't do that now. But yeah, Purdy being probably the worst player on San Francisco, that puppy, they are loaded with just players on the offense and the defense. They're probably the most talented team right now
Mm.
left um of the four teams, speaking from individualized starters. I think they're so deep, and I think they probably have the best player in the world. And McCaffrey, the things he can do is just, he's mind-boggling. He's just so, I mean, as a receiver on the out, as a running back, the distractions, the double teams, the
Mhm.
chaos he causes. And then with Kittles, who's, probably one of your top 5, 7 top tight ends in the league. I don't know. You
Yeah.
want to say, oh, there goes the phone again. But, depending on where you want to situate him, and they're going to be tough to beat. They're going to be tough to beat. I don't think I like Jared Goff. I love the story. I love everything about the Lions. The poor team. I think
Have
they
they
win in
you think you
91,
think they've peaked?
1991.
You think they've peaked? Like, you're like,
I
this is it?
do. I do. I have a feeling they've peaked. Like this is it for them, and I just feel like San Francisco's going to rip them limb from limb and expose them. And I mean by like probably somewhere between 14 to 17 points. Like
Oh,
they're
wow.
really not going to. Yeah, I'm expecting a big game out of San Francisco. I think they're fired up and ready to go.
Mm.
And I just think Detroit's in trouble. I just think like they've peaked. They've made it as far as they can. Sometimes I look at Goff like he looks confused. He's struggling. The
There's
team
definitely
doesn't.
there definitely is 2 versions of Jared Goff, 100%.
You see that, right?
Yeah,
As a
yeah, yeah.
fan, there are moments he looks like he can lead a team with the best of them. Brady, I don't care who you call out. And then there are times I'm like, wow, he looks bewildered and dumbfounded right now. And not
Mhm.
producing either. So we'll see. They had a great run. They really did. I mean, Goff threw for almost 4,600 yards this year.
Yeah. I mean, listen, he had a
30
great
tou 30
great supporting
touchdowns.
cast. Great supporting cast around him too. And those are some talented players. Amon-Ra St. Brown, he's a dog, bro. He's a dog. He's a fucking good football
Montgomery.
player. Oh, David Montgomery would have
Montgomery.
resurrected his career. People
I
thought he
mean,
was dead in the water.
he rushed for almost 1,100 yards, 13 touchdowns.
A lot of
So
touchdowns.
it's a lot of touchdowns. St. Brown had 10 touchdowns. Um, he's got some good players around him. We'll see. I mean, I just think that San Francisco's just deadly. I mean, D-ball, Samuel, uh, you watch that guy catch and run. The yak, he can't even be stopped. He runs people over. I mean, they're just
Mhm.
one big beast after the next. And again, Purdy being your worst player on that team really speaks volumes about how they've come together and they're
Mhm.
ready. They're ready. I said it's probably going to be San Fran and Baltimore, and we'll see from there. But it's going to be a great, exciting game.
It's gonna be a
I
great
think it really
weekend.
is.
Absolutely great
It's going to be.
weekend. A lot of fun. I listen, rooting for the Ravens and the Lions, what I think might be a Chiefs 49ers Super Bowl. So we'll see. It's like so up and down, but we'll see how it all plays out. But before we get out of here, today on a special day, I decided to gift myself a New York New York Knicks basketball hoodie, brand new. Just got it.
Very cool. I
Feel good
like that.
about it. Feel good about it because a couple weeks ago on the Jimmy Palumbo show, two of our favorite Knicks were traded away. Emmanuel Quickly and RJ Barrett were dished off to Toronto for OG, and we're like, well, why?
And who is he?
And who is he? Right? Who's this guy? Right? And all of a sudden, since the trade, the Knicks are 11-2. And you watched it last night, the same game I did. They beat the shit out of a Denver Nuggets team that is not supposed to be beat like that.
Absolutely. Again, Dave, couldn't believe what I was watching. I mean, the role that this kid has come in and the role he's taken. I mean, he had 6 steals last night.
He's
When was
shooting
the last time?
50% from the floor overall. 50% is good. You know what I mean? Like when you're the
Very
position player like
good.
that, and I think he's averaging like 7 boards, 16 point. Like he's finding himself a nice niche on this team right now. And it's the camaraderie, watching Jalen Brunson do what he's doing over the course of this season and last season. The kid is an all-world player. And Randall, it takes a little bit of the pressure off of Randall where we don't have to rely on him so much to make the big play, because there's a lot of times, and you, Steve, you could probably agree with me. Every time Randall gets the ball, you feel like he's a walking turnover. Like I just, sometimes.
Yeah, it's going to make him so much better, taking the pressure off of him, and he won't get in his head and start giving the fans the finger and get outside of himself. And you
Yeah.
want to keep him. Like you said, he's got a good, the pressure that's being taken off him should be able to make him a 20-10 guy every
Yeah.
night without the
Right.
pressure, and just
Right.
make everybody else around him better. So you want him on the floor. 20 and 10 is plenty from him. If you're getting OG with 20 and 10, Quentin Grimes had 19 points last night, looked good. I like Vincenzo too, who's really
Gotta love Vincenzo.
I
They got
love
half
that
they
guy.
got half the damn Villanova freaking championship team on that team at this point.
That's
Between
cool. I
him,
mean,
Josh Hart, and Brunson.
yeah, Josh Hart's another good player.
He's my favorite player on the team. Josh Hart's my favorite player on this Knicks team right now. I just feel like to me, Josh Hart feels like, dare I say, John Starks-esque, where if he comes off the bench, you just know you're getting a spark. You're getting the energy. You're getting this no quit in this kid, and that's why I've really fallen in love with Josh Hart. No pun, big heart on the court. But yeah, man, it's just, I don't know. It's something. There's something to this team right now. Yeah, I mean, are they beating a lot of? I think they're 19-0 against teams that are under 500, which is like insane right now. But listen, if you're a good team, you're supposed to beat those teams. You got your mic just turned off, but yeah. So anyway, you're supposed to beat those teams up, and we'll see how that plays out, because I don't know. But go ahead, you're back.
Yeah. Listen, Dave, for you and I and your sweatshirt, I love the sweatshirt. We can't say that the Knicks are 19-0 in anything. So for us, you say,
Right.
yeah, they were shit teams, but for us, we're proud. I mean, damn, for the Knicks to be 11-2 on a trade where you and I and Jimmy was sulking like 3 babies on what kind of hideous move again, because we're so conditioned to
Mm-hmm.
talk about how horrible the Knicks really are. And we don't want to get ahead of ourselves here. But since
No.
that trade has taken place, it's been fun. And for the Knicks to come in, and I said to my wife, it was on the front cover of the Long Island paper, the Newsday. What are the Knicks going to do with Nikolai and the real team joking? And I said to my wife, this guy's going Murray and him are going to tear this team a new asshole. And boy, was I wrong. I
Mm-hmm.
watched that game and said, man, the Knicks really look good. And Randall only had 17 points, which was nice to see. It was nice to see OG have 26 points.
Telling you, they're playing with a little bit more of a spark, a little bit more of a boost. Maybe this is the position player we were missing. And look, and no disrespect to RJ Barrett, but he was very streaky. There was times he looked like a fucking all-star, and there was times he looked like, I don't even know why he's on the floor. You know what I mean? And the same, Quickly was like a spark plug off the bench. I do like him. I liked him a lot. To see him go sucked, but you got to make room for pieces. I don't even know if the Knicks are done. There's a trade deadline looming, so I don't know. You're going to add more pieces? I have no idea, but as of right now, it's a fun time to be in New York. We got both the Knicks and the Rangers. Rangers are playing poorly lately, but they're still in first. So it's like New York is cruising right now in January. Hopefully, when the spring comes around, we're talking about a 3 or a 4 seed or something like that, where the Knicks can get like a home court advantage, just like they did last year.
Yeah, that sounds good. And the Knicks did that without Haverstein too, right? The big man
Yeah.
was
Hmm.
hurt, and he plays an important role and absorbs 12 to 14 minutes during the game where you need him. He
Yeah.
could get you 8, 10 rebounds.
Sims has been playing okay.
Not
You know,
bad, not
no,
bad.
not bad. He's there. He's filling a gap. He's not as good of a rim stopper that um Hartenstein
Haverstein.
is. Yeah, he is. But like, I don't know. We'll see. Listen, again, I'm like you. Don't like to get ahead of myself. Don't want to start talking about playoffs and shit like that. But it's an exciting time to be a Knicks fan right now. So we'll just kind of embrace it because. Other than that, we got to wait a couple more months for baseball to get rolling and the Yankees and the Mets
Yeah.
and all this other shit. So I even
Um,
asked you, you a Yankee guy or a Met guy?
I'm a Yankee guy.
Okay, good, good. Okay,
Yeah, yeah,
got that
all
one in
day,
common too.
all day. Yeah,
All
all
right,
day.
lots
Yankees
to
all
talk
the
about
way.
as Yankee season approaches too, as
We need a
time goes.
pitcher. We need
Yeah,
a pitcher. I'm not really thrilled with that signing, the kid from Long Island, Stroman, Marcus
Stroman.
Stroman. Yeah,
He's
he's
a little bit of a
inconsistent.
headache. He's a little bit of a
Yeah,
headache too.
drama queen, little
Yeah,
little little too much
he did
bullshit.
not fare well in Queens. So we'll see how that works out.
No, yeah.
So, in any event, take us home, Steve.
So yeah, we'll be looking forward to seeing what's going on this weekend. Exciting games. Hope you guys are checking out the games. Think Dave and I covered it. The Knicks look great. See what's going on with the Knicks the next couple weeks. And believe it or not, the Yankees, the Mets, as they said, right around the corner with the Super Bowl. And
Hmm.
we'll have a lot to talk about. I want to bring up some parenting issues for all of you out there raising parents. Dave is in a position where his kids are a little younger, but his daughter will be entering the public school system very shortly, so he'll be enlightened to that. Ooh, and I am in the high school phase of it, and I will encourage Dave to push his children into athletics as much as
Oh, of
possible
course, of course.
and to keep them busy. Maybe my girls will tutor his girls in basketball, softball, or volleyball. Hopefully, they'll have some success in all of those sports, maybe even at a collegiate level, but who knows? Again, don't want to get ahead of ourselves, one day at a time. But thanks for joining us here on Romans Rundown. This was our second show of hopefully a lot more shows to come,
Hell yeah.
different topics. World events and try to keep you guys entertained. Hopefully, along the way, we're going to get a little funnier, have a little bit more comedy, different topics. And we love that you guys are out here taking the time to listen to us a little bit. So, for you people out there, we hope to see you soon. And we'll catch you next time on Romans Rundown.